What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Generation Toy Tyrant, their version of an IDW Megatron. So this is actually a few years old, but this is a reissue, so they've just reissued this figure in the last couple months. I never looked at this, but this was sent to me by Mr. Carl S. Thank you for sharing this with me. And it is really the only transforming version of IDW Megatron that we've ever gotten. There are some action figures of this guy, but never a transforming figure, at least as far as I can tell, except for Hasbro, which was not Masterpiece scale. You know, they have some Chug scale or other scale versions of it. But let's take a look at this guy. He does have a lot of nice detail. So you got that purple kind of stripe throughout. Translucent purple here on the front. You do have translucent eyes. I wish they wouldn't use translucent eyes unless you had them painted, but this one, they do kind of look good. Maybe that's how he looked. I'd have to go back and look. More translucent here on the knees. Here's the side. Translucent plastics. Here's the back. He's only got a little tiny bit of kibble, which is right here. Other than that, pretty clean overall, especially for what he turns into. He does come with some accessories, so you do get these two little blades which make the ends of the wings. These actually transform as well, so you pull open that, pull down on this, and then slide this piece back. So do the same thing on this one. Then you can take those two and connect them together. And there you go. So go ahead and take that. There's a little tab slot right there. Plug into there, and now he's got his weapon. Pretty cool looking. We'll talk about those ankles in a little bit, but it is a very cool looking weapon. He also comes with a stand here. So you do get this stand. It doesn't have to be assembled. You basically just take this part and just plug it in, just like any other stand we've gotten like this. It does transform a little bit, so these open up. I'm not really sure what it's revealing other than maybe a place to stand, but you take this attachment here. So this is used in the robot mode, so go ahead and take this little slider here and then get that straight and then lock it in. And then you can take this little attachment piece, get that on there, and now you can use this to hold on to Megatron. So that's going to fit right in here. It's not the best fit, but it kind of works. So there you go. You can get it up higher, so if you open this up, lift him up. But it's not the greatest in this mode anyway. In the flight mode, it's definitely nice, but in this mode, not my favorite. There you go for the flight stand. We'll take a look at this again in the vehicle mode. The last thing he comes with is his blast effect here. It's wild and crazy pink. So this can be used with the weapon here. So go ahead and open that up. You can kind of see the shape here, right? So there is a tab here. I believe it fits in. Let's see. And then same on this side. I'm not even sure this is going to be strong enough to hold it, but let's find out. There you go. So it fits in like that, and it looks like it's kind of shooting out. Kind of a cool little effect there. We can go ahead and take that, put that back in his arm. There we go. And now we can use that, but unfortunately now it's too heavy, just like the effect we got with the Fans Toys version of Galvatron. It's just too heavy to hold, so kind of a useless accessory if you'd ask me, because they didn't think through the joint or whatever. And there's the head sculpt. Now I want to show you there is a light up feature. There's batteries inside there. I believe they are, actually sent them to me, so there you go. There's the batteries. They're already in there, but you basically just slide the switch and it'll light up his eyes, but it also lights up his forehead. It just looks kind of weird. But there you go. It does have that light up feature if you want to use it. So that's it for accessories. Let's take a look at his articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel, so it rotates all the way around. Goes up to there, down to there. It is plugged in right here, but it comes loose relatively easily. So just watch out for that. Your rotation at the shoulder all the way around. It does sometimes get caught up, so just be careful. You have a cover down piece here. You can lift the shoulder up, but it does collide with that, so just be careful. You can lift that up out of the way and then get the shoulder all the way out. Your rotation at the elbow. You have a single jointed elbow, but it gets you well past 90 degrees, almost the entire run. You have a rotation at the wrist, single pins for the hands, or for actually not even, just for the pointer finger. And then there's a pin in the middle, but unfortunately it's a curled finger, so you can't get it pointed anyway, so I'm not sure why they did it, but you can get that finger out of there. The rest of this is just molded that way. You don't typically see that on masterpiece figures of this size. Usually you get articulated hands. You have a rotation at the waist. It rotates here, so if you move these down, you can get a little bit more, but it starts to come apart. So this is pegged into here. So you want that pegged in, but it does rotate there. No ab crunch on this guy. And then you got to move these back out of the way. Leg goes up to there, back to there on a ratchet, out to the side, but hindered by the sculpt. You have a hip skirt here. Or I don't even know I'd call that a hip skirt. Just a thigh skirt. Rotation at the knee. Single joint knee gets you 90 degrees. You have a ankle tilt, die-cast feet down here. Both directions, up and down. Unfortunately, a little bit loose. So it looks like there is no screw there, so you're kind of stuck if you want to tighten this. Unfortunately, you got to use some key or something like that. It's just a friction joint. But there you go for articulation. And for a quick size comparison, there is Tyrant next to the MP44 Optimus Prime and the only IDW figure I have in my collection. I don't even know if it really is IDW, but it's the Shattered Glass Jetfire and looks really cool. It's a little bit tall. I don't have a version of IDW Optimus, but they made a version. I'm guessing it fits and scales perfectly with this figure. I don't own it, so I'm just going to have to make an assumption. But there you go for comparison. All right, now let's get Tyrant transformed into his jet mode. And there are some challenging steps. Hopefully I can do this on camera. First of all, just take this off. And we are going to need these steps, or these steps. We're going to need these pieces a little bit later. Go ahead and collapse this down, push that in, fold that up. Same on this one, collapse down, fold up, push in. And those are ready for jet mode. You can just set those aside for now. So we'll work on the upper body first, and then we'll work on the lower body. That's kind of how he goes together. So for the upper body, go ahead and take the arms, just get those out of the way a little bit, come to the back here. You're going to open up this panel here, and you have to kind of bend at the elbow in order to access this. So bend his elbow and then open this, otherwise you won't be able to open that panel. Fold this up and get that inside, and then close that back up. Come to the side here, open up this panel. That'll allow you to take this and fold that in, and then bring that back down. You can take the arm, that's going to rotate upwards. This is going to accordion down, and it's going to end up meeting up here. You don't have to plug it in just yet, but get it positioned so that it's ready to go in. All right, so we'll do the same thing on this side. Open this up, fold this panel down, make sure you bend the elbow to give you some space. Fold this in, close that up, close up the elbow, fold that in, open up the shoulder panel. Allow you to take this, I guess it's a shoulder skirt, is that what you would call it? And this can be frustrating, so just have a spudger handy so you're not wasting time on that. And then close that in. Take this, fold it up, and this is going to accordion down, and it's going to peg in. You don't have to peg it in just yet. You can bring these down, and we're going to deal with that in just a second, but let's finish this up. You're going to take these panels, those are going to fold straight. Take the head, unplug that from here. It's just tabbed very lightly into that spot right there. You can take these, and if you want to save your fingers. These are all sharp corners. You can use a spudger, but they are very sharp. We're going to take this, and we have to get this collapsed, but I find that it's easier if you just move this out of the way. This is the part that I don't love in this transformation. It's just the way it is. All right, so we're going to get all of this undone, and I suggest using a spudger. It's very sharp in here, but you want to unpeg this from that circle right there. Then this entire thing can unpeg from here. So those are tabbed in here and here. Once you have that, you can take the whole thing that can rotate upwards. You can kind of see where this is going, but straighten up this piece here. This is going to come down, and you have to fold this spring-loaded piece in on both sides. And it's got to come together. It's annoying to do because you got to hold it and do it at the same time. That's probably the best I've ever done it, but it just doesn't want to stay together. It's really annoying. All right, once you get that, this has to slide on, not slide, but fold on this double hinge. And it's just tricky to get it right. It's got to go exactly the way they intended. So it's got to end up like that. But it really isn't easy. And this is popping out the whole time fighting you. So just get that as best as you can. So we'll do this one as well. Fold that in. And use that spring to kind of hide it. And this is going to accordion down, and you're fighting the spring while you're trying to get this. And now this one looks like there's some kind of fitment problem because it doesn't go under very smoothly. So I kind of have to force it under there. It's really just, yeah, and it's fighting you the whole time. So, but you do have to get this underneath here. It's the only way to get this transformed. These have to come together. There's definitely some kind of fitment issue here, but these can come together. There's a little tab in the middle that's gonna sort of hold it together. Oh boy, I hate how this works. But that is how it works. All right. Kind of a nightmare, but that's how it works. All right, so we can kind of fix this up now. And this might come apart again, but that's probably the hardest part of the whole thing, is just getting that in there. All right, next we have to get this head through, and it can be tricky. You kind of have to get it through at an angle, and there's a slot to go through right there. So get the head at an angle, just rotate it, and fold it down like that. It's going to come through right there, and it's a tricky spot to get it in. You have to really kind of get it exactly right. And once you get it through, then this panel can come on the top and line up and get pegged in here. All right, so make sure you have that all connected together. And I mentioned earlier, don't bother with this until the end because it might come up. Now you can take this, and this is going to fold down. And you got to take this whole panel, and it's going to accordion down and sit flat. So make sure you have his head just like that, facing downwards. All right. Now we'll take care of this. This is also kind of a pain, but go ahead and unpeg this. So this is tabbed in right here, holding this whole piece down. Take this. This is going to rotate around to the other side like that. And this entire thing is going to accordion up on a double hinge, so accordion upwards, and that's going to peg in, but make sure you get this tab out first. So this tiny little tab is going to peg in right here into the top. So we're getting the home stretch here. Go ahead and take these are going to fold down and in and hide right there. You got to have that in the right position or you won't be able to transform this all the way. All right, so now we've got kind of the hard parts out of the way, which makes things a lot easier. These are going to happen at the end, so just make sure those are back up and out of the way. We can take this wing, and now we can plug this in. And you make sure you have the 4 tabs lined up and get that plugged in like that. Same on this side, we can get that plugged in. And the reason I didn't want you to plug it in before is it was probably going to come out as you were doing it. So, all right, so there we go for that. All right, now we'll work on this lower body. This is also kind of annoying, whatever. Take a spudger or something, and we're going to open up this panel here. This little piece right here has to be folded up. Well, that's what's holding this from being pushed in. So don't forget to put that in when you're going to robot mode. Otherwise, this panel will constantly just fall on you. It is very, very irritating. So this is going to fold up. So fold up once here, fold up again here, and then this whole thing's going to collapse down and fit inside. Right? So it looks like that. You can take this. Actually, this is going to go in too. This is going to fold down and sit on the heel. You can take the toe, and that's going to rotate, and you want to be careful because it's on a very thin thing here, but this is a die cast piece that has to rotate around 180 degrees. And now that whole thing is going to go down and sit inside the back of his leg, and now you can close this down. If it's not closing down, you have this just slightly out of place, but push that back in. It should all sit in like that. Go ahead and open up that knee for now because we're going to take care of that in just a minute. All right, so that's one leg, and actually you can open up this panel too. So same thing on this side. We'll show you the whole thing all over again. Go ahead and open up this purple panel. Don't forget to fold this down. Looks like this one already made its way down. Take this panel, fold that in. We'll show you a different angle this time. Take this one, fold that in, and then collapse that down onto the bottom of the knee. Take this, fold up the hip, the heel, hold here, and then rotate the toe. Don't put any pressure on this as much as possible. You can see there's actually a little groove where that fits, but again, if it doesn't go in, move that out of the way a little bit, close up the panel, and then push that back. It should all sit nice and flush. All right, now we'll take care of these legs. So we're going to rotate. This is a little bit tricky of a sequence, but rotate this up. And you want the black thigh facing upwards, like that. So these pieces end up on the back, right? These little hip skirt pieces, because they're going to end up making part of the jet. Then you want to rotate this to the front. Before we put those legs in, go ahead and come in here. This is going to peg in right here and tab in to complete the bottom of the jet. So it looks like that. Now let's take care of this. So you can kind of see how this is going to come together. And we want to fold. This got jammed up here, so we're going to fold that to the inside. All right? So this is going to come in and all collapse inside of there. There's two tabs right here. I'm going to collapse and connect to the front. So get those plugged in. It's a very tight fit, so just be forewarned. There we go. So that's in. So that's one leg done. So same thing on this side. Rotate that knee. This is going to sit flat. And fold that in. And collapse this tab. And it's very tight. And there's a lot of sharp corners, so just be careful. Here we go. Got the top. Oh my gosh, it's so tight. Okay, that's about as good as I can get it. So go ahead and take these tabs, get them into this panel. But before I do that, I just want to show you, I do have two left panels. So this one, the tabs are on the bottom. So it's not misassembled, it's just two of the same panels, unfortunately. So I did tell Carl about that. Unfortunately, he's going to have to get a replacement part. It's not a big deal, because I'll just show you what happens. So it's tabbing in here and onto the side. Make sure you have that folded flat. And make sure the tabs actually make it in to the side. It's kind of an annoying tab to work with. But that's what it should look like when you're done, nice and smooth and flat across the top. This one, unfortunately, is not going to do that because those tabs have nowhere to go. So just get the front tab, and then this I'm just going to leave it sticking out. You can see those tabs are not quite in there, but not a huge deal. Last step here, go ahead and take these wings. There's two places where they're going to tab in, so here and on the back right here. So just push that down in, and that's one wing. Go ahead and take this one. Same thing. And there you have Tyrant fully transformed into his jet mode. Really nice looking. It's, you know, this purple really worked out on the front. That just looks really cool. The wings do go out pretty far. It would have been nice if they had the bottom part of the wings too, but whatever. I guess this is what he looked like. Here's the top. All that purple detail really comes through here. It looks almost luminescent. It's not, but it's just paint, but it looks really nice. Nice little cockpit there. Here's the back. You got a booster right there. I don't think you can do anything with this. I guess you could put a blast effect or something there, but looks like little engines back here. All of that looks really good. Now let's bring the stand back in, because what is the flight mode without a flight stand? So go ahead and fold this up. We'll get this folded down maybe to there and lock that in. And there's a little slot right there that's going to go on here. So make sure you lock this. And then once you lock that, that's going to slide on. It's a friction fit. There you go. There he is on his flight stand. Now you can have it kind of leaning forward. I think it looks better like that. But there you go. Really, really quite beautiful in this jet mode. And for size comparison, there it is next to MP10 in truck mode. I'd assume the Generation Toy truck is very similar in terms of size, but you can see how he looks. So obviously much wider, very thin in terms of its profile, which makes sense for a stealth bomber, and then thinner this way as well. So there you go for a comparison. So final thoughts on the Generation Toy Tyrant. Let's start with the positives. I think it looks really nice, especially in the vehicle mode. All that purple line work and accents and details really looks good. It's really the only version of a IDW, stealth bomber of Megatron we've ever gotten in the jet mode that actually converts in masterpiece scale. So that's a cool thing that's nice to have, and I'm sure there's people who want to display it that way. The robot mode looks pretty good too. There's some translucent plastic, some paint work, the line work still. The detail overall looks nice. I do like this weapon. Negatives wise though, I don't like this. This doesn't work. It's too heavy. Just like the effect we got with the Fans Toys Galvatron, this one also is too heavy. I also have problems with some loose joints and just plastic quality overall. So I have a loose joint here on the leg. It needs to be tightened right here. Unfortunately, that screw is behind a screw hole cover. So I'm going to let Carl handle that. You also have some loose ankles here. Now, I thought you could tighten it, but looked and saw you can't. It's on a rubber bushing. So you're going to have to put some kiki in there. So some loose joints like that, and some cheaper plastics like here. And then here, when you're combining these into the vehicle mode, they don't squeeze in properly, so the tolerances there are a little bit off. Mind you, this is a new reissue of this figure, so it's not old, it's not, worn down from transformation. I transformed it for the first time just for this review. So those are the negatives. Overall, I guess I do recommend it because it's the only transformable masterpiece IDW Megatron we've ever gotten. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. This is a little bit different from the original reissue in that it comes in robot mode instead of the jet mode. So my transformation was the other direction. So maybe that helps some people. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.